All right, so this is the last page of the Unit 11 test review. I'm certain that this page is just mainly working backwards or just using the formula and such. All right, here we go. Not every problem will have a picture, so we're going to read the directions and solve. Find the area of the circle with the diameter of 14. Write your answer in terms of pi. Oh, wait, this is actually pretty simple. This is not really working backwards. I'm just using that formula, right? So A equals... well, the area of the circle is pi r squared. So if the diameter is 14, then the radius must be 7, right? So A equals pi times 7 squared, which is 49 pi. Okay, so 49 pi what? We don't have a unit, so we're going to write unit squared. Number 27, the area of the circle is 88 pi square inches. Find the radius of the circle. Okay, so this is where we need to work backwards. So we know that the area of the circle is pi r squared, right? Now, if the area is actually given this time, then I can replace the a value with 88 pi. And then I'm trying to figure out what the radius is. So, in order for me to get r squared by itself, right, I need to first divide both sides by pi, and the pi's will cancel out, and I'm left with r squared, okay? So, because I have r squared, which is alone on the right-hand side of the equal sign, I can just take the square root. So, the square root of r squared, of course, is r, and the square root of 88, which I'm going to put into my calculator, is 9.4, because we're going to round to the nearest tenth here. So the radius is approximately 9.4 inches. So r is approximately 9.4 inches. Number 28, the area of a parallelogram ABCD. So A, B, C, D is 2,775 square meters. What is the height of the parallelogram? So this is x, right? But we're looking at the height of the parallelogram. So whatever this value here is the same thing as this, right? So we know that the area of a parallelogram is base times the height. And the area is given, which is 2,775. Which is equal to, well, we have the base, which is 75, and the height will always be perpendicular to the base, right? So we know that this is the height, that's the height, and it's perpendicular to the base, so that is going to be x. So in order for me to figure out the height, right, so let the height be x, so essentially this is what I'm trying to figure out. I need to divide both sides by 75, all right? So I'm going to use my calculator. So 2,775 divided by 75, you get 37. So x is 37, or the height is 37 what? Meters. All right, moving on to this next problem, number 29. The base of a parallelogram is 13 inches longer than its height. If the area of a parallelogram is 300 square centimeters, find the base and the height. So please make sure you're paying attention to the word problem here. It says you're trying to find two things, the base and the height of the parallelogram. So the base of the parallelogram is 13 inches longer than the height. I'm looking at the word problem. I don't know what the value of the height is, so that is going to be my unknown. So let h be my unknown, or x. And the base of the parallelogram, again, is 13 inches longer than its height. So the base is 13 inches plus x, right? And the area, of course, we know is 300. So we say A equals base times the height. The area is 300. The base is 13 plus x times the height. I'm actually going to put x first. So x times 13 plus x. And then we distribute the x to each term. So 300 equals 13x plus x squared. Okay. And I'm going to rewrite this as 300 equals x squared plus 13x, okay? In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and subtract both sides by 300 here, because I notice that I have an x squared and an x, yes? That means I'm dealing with a quadratic, so that's why I'm subtracting both sides by 300, so I can let this side be 0, and I have x squared plus 13x minus 300, and of course, I'm going to rewrite this as x squared plus 13x minus 300 equals 0. And I am going to use the x method here. So draw a big fat X on your paper, negative 300 up top, positive 13 down below. The two numbers that multiply together to give me negative 300, but add up to 13 will be negative 12 and 25. So I have x minus 12 times x plus 25 equals 0. So x is 12 and x equals negative 25. So I'm comparing these two x values. Which one's extraneous? That's going to be x equals negative 25, because we can't have a negative number when it comes to distance, right? So x equals 12. Now, if x is equal to 12, then the height is 12 inches. And if the base is 13 plus x, that's 13 plus 12, so that's 25 inches. So these are your two answers. Please make sure that you have those answers shown somewhere, so that when I'm grading your test, I can definitely see what you have, of course. Okay, so the base and the height, which are the two things that we were trying to figure out. All right. Here we go. If the circumference of a circle is 72 pi meters, then what is the area of the circle? Leave your answer in terms of pi. So if the circumference of a circle is 72 pi meters, okay, so the circumference is 2 pi r. And the circumference is given, it is 72 pi. All right, so 72 pi equals 2 pi r. I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 2 pi here, because I want to figure out what the radius is. Because look, if we know the area of a circle, which is pi r squared, our goal here is we need r to figure out the area. So I'm going to use the circumference formula to figure out what the area is, if that makes sense. Or I should say I'm using the circumference formula to find the value of r, so I can use that r value to plug it into the area of circle formula. So here we go. I can cancel the pi's out, right? So I have that, and then I can cancel the two 2's out here, so I'm left with r on the right hand side, and then I have 72 divided by 2, that's 36, right? So if r is 36, then I can go ahead and plug that in, pi 36 quantity squared. All right, so 36 squared is what? 1,296. Don't forget the pi. We're dealing with area, so the unit is meters, so 1,296 pi meters squared. Okay, next, this one's a difficult one. A trapezoid has an area of 132.54 square units. If one of the bases of the trapezoid is 20 units long with height 11 units, then what is the length of the other base? Round to the nearest 10. Okay, so the reason why this one's a little difficult is because there's just some weird algebra going on that you're not used to, which is okay. It's totally fine. So it's probably a good time to practice this now and get better at it as time progressed in your high school math career. All right, so trapezoid area, right? That is A, so area equals 1/2 times the quantity of the first base. So B1 plus the second base, B2, times the height. So 1/2 the first base. Let's see, if one of the bases of the trapezoid is 20 units long, okay, we'll call that B1, plus B2, do we have B2? No, we're actually trying to find the other base. So B2 is still going to be B2, all right? So B2. And then the height is given, which is 11. And don't forget, the area is this, 132.54 square units. So I can go ahead and replace that. So here we go. I am going to do this. So this is 1/2 times this times this. I'm not going to distribute. I'm actually going to multiply the 1/2 times 11. So 1/2 times 11, which is the same thing as saying 1/2 times 11 over 1, right? 11 over 1 is still 11. When we're multiplying fractions, we multiply across. When the two fractions are equal to each other, then we cross multiply. We're not cross multiplying here. We're going to multiply the fractions. So 1 times 11 is 11, and 2 times 1 is 2. So I have 132.54 equals 11 over 2 times this quantity here, 20 plus B2. Now, the trick here is, since I see this little fraction, I want to get rid of the 2 here, okay? So I'm going to multiply the right-hand side by 2 and the left-hand side by 2. So what am I going to get? 132.54 times 2 is this number. I'll write it down. 265.08 equals 11 times 20 plus B2. Okay, so remember, 11 over 2 times 2, right? So 11 over 2 times 2, that's 22 over 2, or since they're being multiplied, the 11 over 2 times 2, I can actually cancel the 2 2's out, and you're left with 11, okay? All right. You can, if you want, you can distribute the 11 to both of the terms here, or if you remember back in semester 1, I can treat this as 11x, right? So I can divide both sides by 11, which I'm going to do. Okay, so that is 265.08 divided by 11, and ooh, that is a weird, nasty fraction. So I'm going to say, all right, we're going to round at the end here. Or maybe, you know what? Let's just make this neat. Let's try this. Instead of dividing, we're going to go ahead and distribute. All right, so 11 times 20 is 220, okay? So 220 plus 11b squared. Oh, I'm going to do this anyways. It doesn't matter. Okay. Sorry, that was just kind of weird. I was choosing one method, then I'm changing my mind. But in reality, it's just going to be the same thing. What I'm doing is just more work now. All right. So 265.08, yeah? So 265.08. Now I'm going to subtract both sides by 220. All right. So 220. You're going to be left with 45.08. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and move my work over here. So 45.08 equals 11b b sub 2, b2. Now, in order for me to get b2 by itself, I need to divide both sides by 11. Okay, so 45.08 divided by 11. We're rounding to the nearest tenth here. So I had on my calculator, or I should just go ahead and show you on my thing. Okay, so I wrote 45.08 divided by 11, and you have this. So we're rounding to the nearest tenth, so the 0th taking that 10th place, that 9 will dictate that 0. So it's going to become b sub 2 is approximately 4 4.1, okay? But I'm looking over here, we don't, actually do, it says square unit, so our unit is just unit. So B sub 2 is approximately 4.1 unit. All right? Okay, sorry about that one. This one is a little complicated, but there are two ways that you can approach this, and however you do it, you'll get the same answer, all right? Okay, so that was basically the last page of the test review. Good luck. If you have any questions, please make sure that you seek your teacher for help. Bye-bye.